Okay, students, I'm back again. It was a very short break, and we have again started to record. Um, Remember, the last program that I showed you here was where you wrote one statement, which was n is equal to ob dot read line, and I told you that this is a statement which is going to read the string of characters that you punch from the keyboard, and it will give it to n. So what will n be storing? N will be storing something like, say, John. Okay. Now, had this input, majority of the programs that you will face is not related to performing inputting your names or address. What you will be asked most of the time is to perform inputting a number. So in that case, it becomes even more complex, because what you need to do is parse that string that has come and into an integer form. So that, which means that first, this is a keyword. Okay, from here you are sending it to the memory. So whatever you have typed in, say you type in 123. So you send the 123, it comes to the memory. From the memory, then it has to be first parsed. Why parsed? Because if you don't parse it, it will, because what is coming is in the raw form. Remember, I used the word raw form. So raw form means in form of a string. So that string has to be converted to number. So number also numeric, so many data types, numeric types are there in Java. So whether you want it in int form, or you want it in float form, you want it in double form, you want it in long form, what form you want, based on that, the appropriate wrapper classes needs to be invoked. Wrapper classes are classes which are used for conversion. They are used for conversion. So they will convert whatever raw form has come into the appropriate type. So here I'm erasing this and I'm writing here that first you will use the integer wrapper class, or you will use the float wrapper class or double wrapper class, and then convert it to int or float or double. So I hope this is clear. But how do we do it? How do we do it? So this is a pictorial representation. What we'll try to understand is, let's say you have taken an integer variable. You have first taken a string variable, string n, and we asked system.out.print enter a number. So now we're not asking for name, we're asking for number. We have also not specified here what type of a number. So we need to always specify what type of a number. So if you want a whole number, you mention that we want a whole number. So whole numbers are numbers which do not have any decimal points. So preferably you can take, first you perform the read operation, you perform it. So let it come in the form of, let whatever number you have typed, say 1, 2, 3, let it come in form of a string, no problem. Then you can take a variable called I, which stands for an integer variable, and that you can use it to say integer dot parseInt n. Remember, I told you need a wrapper class. And what is the job of wrapper class? Wrapper class jobs are to perform conversion. So they will convert this n, which is in string, and convert it to what? Integer. So I is what type of variable? Integer. So after that you can print. If you want to print, you can print. So it will print without any problem, and we won't actually print them just like that. We may use that value that the user has punched in, the whole number, for some kind of manipulation or calculation purpose. Okay, so let us see the questions now. So the first question coming up is, in your book that is given is to calculate the time period of a pendulum. So this is a class, since we're discussing class 9, we all the students are from class 9. So this question is also from your first chapter in your physics, which is also related to time period. So this is in physics. And what is time period of a pendulum? They've given in the question also that the formula is twice the value of pi multiplied by the square root of the length of the pendulum by the value of acceleration due to gravity. So in the question they have mentioned that you need to input this value and this value. So two values need to be input. Two values. Pi is given, that you can take a variable called pi and give it 22/7. But the problem is understanding the question is not clear, because you cannot write 22/7. Because if you write 22/7, then first thing that you have to take care is that 22 is a whole number, 7 is also a whole number. If you divide one whole number by another whole number, what you will get, the answer is only 3. But the value of pi is not 3. Value of pi is not 3. So that is the reason that what we will do is not exactly follow what is there in the book, but instead what we will do, let's see how we write the program. So what we'll do, we'll use the first technique, remember? So we'll straight away write class time period. Okay? Class time period. And I'm writing here we need to input the length of the pendulum, and we also need to input what? The acceleration due to gravity. Now I'm not sure whether the acceleration due to gravity will be taken as a whole number or as a fraction. That will depend on the user, so that is why we have kept it open. We have taken double. So when you take double, that means you're keeping the options open for the user. Don't think about yourself that the program will be executed by yourself. The program that you make is for another person to execute. So keep in mind from that person's point of view. So now what do you need to do? You need to take a variable called double pi and you assign it 3.14. So you can take the value of pi as 3.14. But apart from this, you also need some variable called TP, time period. Okay. Now what was the formula to find out? They have already given that it is twice the value of pi multiplied by, remember in our previous session I had already talked about a function called square root. So here what we will give the value of L and G. So no need to worry. The division operation will happen naturally, because we have one integer value and we have a double value. So the answer that square root will find out is of a real number, and that will be multiplied by the value of pi and then with the value of 2. So we can display the answer here as system.out.print time period is TP. See, it's very simple. But why did I write it for you? I wrote it so that you realize that this is how you can go about writing the sequence. So whether you're writing this first or this one first, doesn't matter. Whether this is statement number 1, this statement number 2, you can play around with this. There's no problem at all. But you cannot play with these two statements. You cannot print first and calculate later. So that will come through practice, that will come through solving many problems. Let us pick the second one. The second one says that you need to input the basic pay, and also we have to change the name of the class. The name of the class that is given in the question is employee. And what we have to take here is what? basic pay. So I'm trying to make it short. Then they have mentioned in the question that you have to calculate the allowances and deduction, calculate gross pay, net pay, and display. So no problem. What you do, let the basic pay be in integer or double, doesn't matter. But other things will matter if you take them as integer and not as double, because they will be calculated as certain percentages which is mentioned in the question. So double, you take DA for dearness allowance, HRA, name of a variable, for house rent allowance. You take provident fund as PF, you take GP as gross pay, and NP as net pay. So these are the variables that you need for your program. Straight away you can do the calculation for DA. So DA they have mentioned as 30%. So 30% means what? You can write 30 divided by 100.0 or 30.0 divided by 100. Why did I mention the point here? There is a reason. If I write 30% as 30 by 100, this will result in 0, because this is a smaller number, this is a bigger number. Both of them here are whole numbers, integers. So one small integer value divided by a bigger integer value will result in a 0. So this is the reason that why I have written here 30.0 divided by 100. That means when you perform the division here, any of these operands can be a double or a float value. Okay, then you multiply this by BP. BP means basic pay. So they have mentioned that DA is 30% of basic, then HRA is 15% of basic. So here, see, you can also write 30% is 30%, 15% you can also say is 0.15. If you divide 15 by 100 in maths, as an arithmetic calculation, what you will get is 0.15. So straight away I am writing here 0.15. So this is just an option for you for calculation, that you can use this also. And then you have provident fund PF, which is 12.5. So now you can easily write 100 because this value itself is double, and then you multiply by BP. They have also given the formula for calculating the gross and the net. So gross pay is your basic pay plus DA plus HRA, but your net pay NP is gross pay minus the provident fund. So then you are supposed to display. So I hope you can display the you can write the statements to display the gross pay and the net pay. So that is about it for this session here. Thank you. If you have doubts, you please write to me. Okay. Thank you.